Have you ever felt as though from the outside you have, it looks like you have it all together. You have success on paper. You might have the job title, credentials, accomplishments, but on the inside, you feel unfulfilled and you're barely holding it together. I can relate to that. I was high performing, high achieving, high functioning, but inside I was drained, burned out, questioning everything. And I was kind of scared to stop moving because I thought everything would fall apart. Like who's gonna keep things moving if I stop? Hey there, I'm Kathleen, and as a transition strategist, I help high-performing women, primarily Black women, navigate life and career transitions with more ease and less chaos by deepening self-trust and realigning you with your values. And in this video, I'm going to share how I broke free from what I call the performance trap and finally started choosing peace in both career and life transitions. I'm going to talk about what the performance trap looks like, what that costs you, and how you can also reclaim your peace without compromising your integrity. And I think that this is something that's really important to talk about, especially us as Black women. We often stay in roles that we've outgrown, in routines that drain us, in environments that basically reward our silence instead of recognizing and appreciating our brilliance. And because we're so good at holding it all together and keeping it together, we just keep pushing. But that pressure to keep performing, it comes at a cost. And the cost doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Like, of course, it can show up in burnout and anxiety, but it also shows up in starting to lose our own trust in ourselves, in our own intuition, and in our instincts. And, sometimes we just keep trying to meet the expectations of everyone around us. And that can lead to us losing our own momentum towards our own goals, or, we might not feel safe in our own our own bodies. Our nervous systems don't feel safe. And I've been there. I absolutely understand how that feels, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so I'm going to walk you through some of my biggest insights that helped me shift from performance mode to peace. So, first thing is that performance mode is not sustainable, even if you're rewarded for it, because you might get praised for pushing through, for being reliable, for being resilient, for being strong, right? Please don't call me strong. I don't want to be called strong. I'm actually very fragile. But, when your sense of worth is tied to your productivity or how you perform, it might make you hide your exhaustion, and you're not really thriving, you're surviving. Because performance mode convinces you that you're only as valuable as your output, that if you stop producing, that you'll no longer be worthy. But first of all, that's not true. That's not sustainable. You are worthy as you are. Your value doesn't change just because your output may have changed. You are worthy as you are because there's only one you, and that is your superpower. And that's something that performance mode and being stuck in the performance trap doesn't appreciate. Another thing is that the real cost of proving yourself, whether consciously or not, you're losing peace. Because there's a difference between working towards something that you want and making an effort towards that and constantly trying to prove yourself. I know for me, when I was deep in performance mode, I didn't necessarily feel like I had to prove myself. I felt like I had to prove other people wrong. Can you relate to that? Where, somebody says something about you or says you're not performing, and you might feel like, well, no, you're wrong. I'm going to show you that you're wrong just to show that you're wrong. So you can say, no, you're wrong. And I lost a lot of time. I don't say I lost time, but I mean, we can't get time back. So I absolutely lost time trying to prove somebody else wrong, even though deep down I knew I had nothing to prove. And it was all because I thought that if I didn't prove this person wrong, then I would be slowing down and I would get left behind. Behind what? I don't know. But it's not sustainable because the real loss isn't, a job title or a paycheck, which, spoiler alert, I ended up even, in proving people wrong, I still ended up losing my job. But that wasn't the real loss. The real loss was my peace of mind, my self-trust, and even a little bit of my joy. So being stuck in performance mode can absolutely cost you your peace. And then also, choosing peace over performance, it's a choice. Because let's be clear, choosing peace doesn't mean that you're giving up or you're letting others win, but it's about moving differently. It's about making choices that align with your values, even if those choices are different than choices you've made in the past or different from what other people say you should do. It's really about asking yourself, what do I want my life or my career to look like, to feel like, and then giving yourself permission to say yes to those things and no to anything that doesn't align with what it is that you say that you want. For me, that looked like no longer trying to make myself smaller in environments that were never built for me to thrive, that were never built for me to succeed, where my authenticity triggered people who needed to go to therapy and do the work in between sessions. It was also trusting myself to rebuild, even when I didn't have a full plan. And over time, peace really became my new baseline. It's definitely one of my core values is peace. And I no longer looked at peace as a luxury. As soon as I start to feel like I'm performing or, operating in a way that's not aligned with my values, my nervous system tells me she does not like that. And so now it's a signal of this is no longer aligned with your values. And peace, like I said, is one of my core values. So now if you're watching this and you're starting to feel as though you want to break free from the performance trap, you want to pull towards something different, here's where you can start. So first, notice where performance is showing up. Like, ask yourself, where are you doing things out of pressure and not purpose? What are you trying to prove and who are you trying to prove it to? Even if you're trying to prove someone wrong, I heard this on a podcast, so I'm not gonna take credit for this. I can't remember what podcast, but I heard on a podcast that even in trying to prove someone wrong, it's almost a form of people pleasing. If I find the podcast, I'll drop it in the comments, but ask yourself, what am I trying to prove and who am I trying to prove it to? And sometimes you might be trying to prove something to yourself. So this is about really creating awareness within yourself, starting to notice like some of the habits and the roles and expectations that keep you in performance mode, survival mode. The next thing that you can do is really get honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself about what staying in performance mode is costing you. Like, what has it cost you to keep performing for others? Has it cost you time? Time for me, time is a well, not for me, but time is a non-renewable resource. We do not get time back. If I had to choose between something that is going to cost me time versus cost me money, I will take the thing that costs me money because you can always make more money. You can't get time back. So you have to be honest about the cost. What has it cost you to keep performing? Where have you played small or silenced yourself or ignored cues from your body or delayed, steps that will bring you peace because you're afraid of what you might lose. But be honest with yourself about the cost of staying in performance mode, in trying to maintain an image. Write it down and look at it because sometimes we need to see the impact of staying stuck in the performance trap and performance mode in order to give ourselves permission to choose differently. Sometimes we need to hear it either someone that we trust, a therapist or, a friend, a family member that we trust. Sometimes we need them to say it. Other times we need to be able to say it to ourselves for ourselves. And then the next step that you can do is to define what does peace look like for you? Because, and I think this is really important because how I define peace might be different from how you define peace. So peace, it's not about what other people expect. It's about what you want your life to feel like. Is it more rest? Is it more freedom? And then get even more specific about what freedom means. Is it time freedom? Is it financial freedom? Is it location freedom? Is it all of the freedoms? What does peace look like? Is it more alignment in your work or in your relationships? And peace doesn't, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from changing everything overnight. You don't have to overhaul your life, but starting with naming what peace is for you and what matters to you and then making one small step in that direction, that's a great start. Transitions are messy. Whether we chose the change or not, transitions are messy, but they're also full of possibility. And I really believe that you can absolutely choose peace over performance, over performing for what others want, others' expectations for you, others' ideas of how your life and career should look. You can absolutely choose peace how you define peace. You don't have to prove yourself or prove anything to anyone in your journey. You can move with clarity and with intention and with self trust. Now, if you're in a position right now where you've outgrown a role, whether that's in your life or your career, and you know that something needs to change, I have a resource that might be helpful for you. It's a 5-day pre exit audit series where every day you'll get an email with reflection prompts and insights to help you move forward from stuck to grounded action. So the link to that is in the description box. And just remember that you don't have anything to prove to anyone. You don't have to, perform to rest. Your worth is not tied to productivity. You also don't have to overhaul your life or burn it all to the ground in order to make a change. You can take small steps towards the life and career that you really want, and you can choose peace instead of performing, whether that's performing for the approval of others or performing, to meet other people's expectations or performing to believe that you're worthy. You are worthy as you are, and you are allowed to choose peace now, however, whatever peace looks like for you. And the moment that you decide to stop performing and start listening to yourself is actually when real freedom begins. And freedom is priceless. So thanks for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, like this video if it resonated, and I will see you next time.